What is this?
Just a few favorites from my collection. Rescued and stored here just before I went off-world. Take a look, if you like. I'm curious to hear your impressions.
My friend is dead. Beta and Gaia are gone, and you want me to look at old paintings?
Don't be so quick to dismiss the comfort we can find in art, or the insight we might gain. My favorite pairing on the left is Woman Reading a Letter by Vermeer, a true master. And on the right is a forgery, Woman Reading Music, which fooled experts into believing it was a priceless original. Early in my career, I became fascinated with such deceptions. Eventually, I developed scanning software that could detect fakes with unparalleled accuracy.
Is that how you made enough money to buy your way onto the Odyssey?
Oh no. I made my real fortune later.
Why do you keep the forgery?
I've always enjoyed studying the two side by side. Both painters capture light, color, and perspective. But what makes one a masterpiece and the other simply an imitation?
The forgery looks... sharper?
Good eye. The details are crisp, the contrast bold. It tells us more, and yet we feel less.
What's in the letter?
Who can say? What does the painting tell you?
She's... concerned. Whatever's written in the letter troubles her. A burden she can't put down.
Fascinating.
Why go through so much effort to make a fake masterpiece?
The forger initially painted under his own name, but found little success. His work was considered unremarkable. But when he took on the guise of Vermeer, suddenly it was celebrated as extraordinary.
But it was a lie. And he knew it.
Sometimes we struggle to glean what is real and imagined, even within ourselves. The irony of these two is that Vermeer died in obscurity. He had no idea his work would become some of the most precious, most copied, most preserved pieces in all history. She's the goddess of the moon, whereas he's a simple shepherd. Beside her is the god of love, Cupid.
So she's... sneaking up on him?
More like visiting him in secret. The torch that Cupid bears represents Celine's undying infatuation with him. Though the two must remain apart, her love will forever burn.
And why can't Celine and Endymion be together?
Celine took a vow of chastity, promising to never take a lover. So when she fell in love with Endymion, she could only visit him at night while he slept.
But then wouldn't she be breaking that vow?
Think of it as a forbidden love. Though circumstance keeps them apart, still they find a way to come together, however briefly.
Aren't Celine and Endymion cold?
Perhaps we should move on to another piece. Shall we move on? This is Rembrandt painting Jeremiah, a man in mourning.
Mourning what?
His home. The ancient city of Jerusalem. He foresaw its impending doom, but could do nothing to prevent it. So instead, he saved its treasures from destruction, just as I saved these works. You could say we're kindred spirits.
About Jeremiah. If he knew his home would be destroyed, why didn't he save the people? Why save those relics?
He tried, but no one would listen to his warning, so he saved what he could.
But how did he know?
He was a prophet. He saw an army invade and destroy the city in a vision.
So it's more like he calculated which side would win a battle.
What matters is that he was right in the end. If not for him, all those wonders would have been lost forever. At least this way, some part of his world survived. You know what I like the most about this piece? Even though he's the sole survivor, his home in ruins, left with only the remnants of his world. The light keeps the shadows at bay.
There's still hope.
Precisely. Take as long as you like. A portrait of the painter, Rembrandt's son Titus, depicted in the habit of a monk.
I don't get it. Why would someone like you, with infinite resources, care about this painting of a boy in a hood?
It's not the image itself, but the feeling it conveys. The face is bright and defined, but his eyes are downcast, heavy with misfortune. And the background seems to swallow all light. The painting is infused with a sense of loss.
I guess I understand how the painter feels.
Works of art such as these can often cause us to look inwards at our own lives. I'm sorry about your friend. Had I been able to intervene, I would have. But the risk of losing you as well was too great.
Everything went by in a blur. I couldn't get to him.
You know, long before holograms and focus recordings, people relied on art to memorialize their loved ones. Because of works like this painting, their lives are immortalized. Rembrandt had 4 children by his wife. All but Titus died shortly after she gave birth to them. She passed not long after that. Titus became the only family Rembrandt had.
Which is why he painted him this way.
Indeed. Then tragedy struck again. Disease claimed Titus at 26. It's almost as if Rembrandt painted the future, closing in on him. Rembrandt actually painted several portraits of Titus, but this one has always been my favorite. It's honest.
What do you mean?
In others, Titus was portrayed in brighter, livelier states, but here, Rembrandt allows himself to express his true feelings. Sorrow, fear, hope, love. Laid bare on canvas for all time. I see this one resonates deeply with you. Rembrandt's The Night Watch, by far the most famous painting my homeland ever produced. It was commissioned to honor a militia made up of influential citizens.
I guess you must have been an influential citizen.
In my day. But not as influential as you've been in this new world.
The militia. They look disorganized.
Where others painted such scenes in a stiff and stationary manner, Rembrandt chose to show them in action, preparing to march. He wanted them to feel alive. You can almost hear the commotion.
Who's the girl in the painting?
She's a strange one, isn't she? Bathed in light, though no one is paying attention to her. Many believe she's a symbol of the militia. A physical manifestation of their spirit, if you will.
But she's not real?
What's real in a painting? She's meant to represent the militia's virtue and victory. But I like to think they underestimate her. She looks as if she's seen something. What does she know? What secrets does she keep? There's so much detail to take in, isn't there? The Gust by Willem van de Velde, the most famous of his many maritime paintings.
A ship crossing into the unknown. I guess you're familiar with that.
Indeed, which is why I appreciate this composition in particular. Though waves and wind threaten to destroy the ship, it perseveres, clinging to the light even as darkness closes in all around it.
Where is the ship going?
To a faraway land, most likely. My ancestors used ships like these to explore the world, sometimes at great cost.
What were they looking for?
Anything of value. They were traders willing to face unknown dangers to make their fortunes. But no matter how far they went, they always turned their sails home.
So this Van de Velde only painted ships?
It was his specialty. Following in the footsteps of his father, Willem the Elder. The two had quite a journey of their own, taking them all the way to the court of a foreign kingdom.
Did they ever come home?
No, but eventually their lives' work did. Take your time.
A lot of weight on his shoulders. I have a feeling I should move on.
Stunning, isn't it? Paintings were the only masterpieces of my people's golden age. This is Van Vianen's lidded ewer, molded from a single sheet of silver.
What was it for?
How like Elizabeth you are. Function over form. Its practical purpose was less important than its meaning. Van Vianen created it in honor of his late brother, who himself was a famous silversmith.
A memorial?
Yes. Such beauty from sorrow.
If this ewer was a memorial, how did you end up with it?
As the Pharaoh swarm closed in, my homeland's greatest museum gave it to me, along with many other works, in the hope that I could preserve them. A masterpiece like this was too important to lose to history. I even considered bringing it with me off-world to ensure its safety.
Why didn't you?
I took a calculated risk. This vault seemed more secure than the unknowns of space. Besides, I thought someday I might return. A long life, after all, has its advantages. Now, lo and behold, here I am. Exquisite, isn't it?
She's pulling out her own hair. Out of madness, out of grief. It's hard to watch her suffer. I should move on.